we are joined by the entire Cal State Northridge women's basketball team. And again, we'll open up with a statement from the coach, then open up to questions. Please raise your hand. We'll get the microphone to you. Lauren will get it to you. Also, please make sure you talk right into the microphone and identify yourself and your affiliation before you ask your question. Coach, here you
go. First off, obviously Hawaii had a tremendous regular season, and they deserve to be the regular season champion, which, to be quite honest, is harder to do because of the 16-game schedule that you have to be consistent over. Laura's done a great job building that program, and so, we have a lot of respect for what they did. The reason that everybody's up here is because this group became a team throughout the year. Coming here last year and having the success that we had brought on different challenges throughout the year. And through the thick and the thin, these young women did what they were supposed to do. They paid the price, they made sacrifices, and they became a team. So that's why everybody's up here, because everybody played a part in what happened out on the floor today.
All right, we'll open up to questions. Start right there.
Mark Wicker, LA Daily News. Jason, was this an example of how you have to challenge shot blockers? And, even though they blocked a lot of shots, you guys kept going in there and almost were even with them in points in the paint. Was that an example of how you have to keep going after shot blockers like that?
Yeah, at the end of the day, the ball was going out of bounds and we still had the basketball. So, it's kind of the old Bill Russell deal. It wasn't like they were blocking shots and keeping it in play, and it ended up being turnovers. We kept possession. As it played out, we were able to draw some fouls going to the basket. So just because it might not work the first time doesn't mean that we stopped doing it. And again, it's the character of this group. They just kept putting their head down and kept attacking.
Any other questions? Go second, third row, and then the back row.
Abby Mastracco, Big West. You said that coming in as the champs at the beginning of the season brought some different challenges. What were some of those challenges? And Ashley, for Coach, and then Ashley, if you could follow up with those as well. Anybody who really wants to follow up with that. What were some of the challenges of being the champs this year, other than having a target on your back?
Coach, why don't you take that first?
I think anytime you have success in a group environment, it's easy to forget why you were successful. I think the tendency is to think that me as an individual has more to do with the group's success maybe than the reality is. Or the group is having success, so now it's my turn to do even more or get even more, and you got to continue to make sacrifices. And I think early on we were winning games. It wasn't quite right. And then we went through the skid in the middle of the conference play, and the group made a decision that what was going on wasn't acceptable. And again, it goes back to, I think a lot of teams get to that point in different ways, but it goes back to the character of these 11, 12 young women, that they figured it out and rededicated themselves to making the sacrifices that it took to be a successful group.
Ashley?
I agree with Coach. We struggled a lot throughout this season. We were trying to figure out what are we missing, from last year, what is wrong. And we came together, seniors, we had meetings with the team. And I think what helped us to get back to that and even better than what we were last year is the fact that we didn't give up. Things weren't working, but we didn't stop trying to make it better. We didn't stop trying to fix it. And everybody came together, and one energy sparked another energy. So it started from shooting together, or in practice, someone going hard and then you're going harder than them. You're trying to keep continually pushing each other. And I think it was just a full team effort. We got on the same page, and it showed. These last two games were probably the best we played together, especially team defense. So.
Janae or Cinnamon, you guys want to say anything?
Yeah, just to add on to what they were saying. Last year we bought into his system and we bought into what we were meant to do. And this year, in the beginning, we kind of did, and then in the middle we had our ups and downs. And then once conference tournament hit, I think we really bought into what he was trying to tell us to do, and we bought in at, like coming together. So I think that was one of the biggest challenges, was re-buying into his system.
Okay, we'll go to the back, please.
Julius Lassen, Sundial, and this is for Ashley, Cinnamon, and Janae. Obviously, Hawaii employs a bunch of players that are, I think, only one of them was under 5'7", and all of you are 5'7" or shorter. How did you guys adjust and take advantage of Hawaii's height, other than the head fakes? Because I don't think I've ever seen a trio of guards use head fakes as effectively as you three today.
Janae, why don't you start with this one?
In practice, we work on putting bigger players under the rim and protecting the ball. And at first, we were coming out just showing the ball and obviously getting blocked. And then second half, we made an adjustment. And it just goes down to like never giving up. Like just continue to attack. Don't get discouraged from people blocking you all the time. So when we play, how we practice, where we were able to put the ball in the rim or draw fouls and get N1s.
Yeah, like what Janae said. In practice, we practice going full speed at the basket, and like they have like a tennis racket that'll hit the ball down. Like if
You're
we
giving
don't
away
make,
all the secrets.
My bad. Yeah, so like we practice like finishing over height and getting into the body, and so I think that really helped us because we go full speed in practice, and then it helps in the games, and like we didn't let them blocking our shots discourage us, and we just kept attacking. We never gave up. So.
Ashley?
I agree with all that. Like they said, we just do it in practice and we applied it. We're pretty stubborn sometimes because we don't do it all the time. And then when we actually do it, we're like, oh, like it actually works. So I think once we start doing what we're supposed to do initially, then it'll make progress. But I mean, it's a long game, so we showed it in the second half.
We're going to go front row here, and then we'll go to the third row.
Coach, Brian McInnes of the Star Advertiser in Hawaii. Hawaii, when they were up here just a little while ago, Coach Beeman mentioned that the pressure that you guys applied seemed a little more intense this time, or at least different. Can you just talk about what you guys might have done differently there?
I think the kids kind of talked about it without going into necessarily X's and O's details. There's never been, regardless of sport, there's never been a good team that wasn't a very good defensive team, or a championship team that wasn't a very good defensive team. And we started to really get it going defensively probably a couple weeks ago is when we kind of turned the corner, and that was the big sacrifice that our kids decided to make. So we knew going into this game that we hadn't played them for a while. We knew that we were a completely different team the last time we played them in a lot of different ways. We had to alter some things throughout the year. So we knew it was going to be different. Obviously, you don't know how it plays out until it plays out, but we knew it was going to be a different kind of game than the first two matchups.
Go to the third row, please.
Trent Shlomi, ESPN. Coach, describe to me your emotions right now, considering that this group of, especially the four core seniors that have been here all 4 years, and to know that you've just won 2 Big West tournament championships and are going to make 2 NCAA tournament appearances after a single win season their freshman year?
No.
Or excuse me, the year before the
Four. We need all of those. There was 4 wins our first year. Yeah, thanks, Herb. They came. Okay, got you. These young women came in, and speaking of the 4 seniors, and then obviously Cinnamon joined them later. We went from 4 wins to 17 wins, and their freshman year they won 17 games, and they haven't looked back. We sold them on what they could be, and I think we had to keep reminding them on what they could be when they maybe didn't see the light or wanted to kill me, one or the two. But it's gonna sound cliche. It still hasn't hit me. It probably won't hit me. I don't know when it'll hit me. everybody, yeah, I don't know when it'll hit me. But this group, and this is another reason why I wanted them all up here, statistically, as far as wins in the season, as far as what they've accomplished over the course of this season, this is the best team in school history, period. And there's no disrespect to anybody. We respect the tradition of our program. We embrace it. We've had more alums involved in our program in the last couple of years than ever. And I don't think that they would take it as disrespect, but this group of young women have worked their tails off. They sacrificed, they've cried, they've bled, but they are standing here as the best team to ever play at Cal State Northridge.
We'll go right here, second row, and then in the back.
Jason, some of your big players also really contributed with, fighting them on the boards. I know Caitlin had a big, took a charge that you were pretty excited about. Did you kind of challenge them beforehand that, what they were going to be up against in this game?
I challenge all our kids every day. Probably, especially the big players. It's a situation where the lights came on. Camille was huge yesterday, whether it was inside, whether it was getting out and chasing people off the three. She battled in there today. It was a situation where our bigs were in there wrestling. I call it wrestling with the bear, and they did that. And then it was a matter of our guards coming in and helping them out. And again, that goes back to the sacrifice. But our bigs were big. That sounded great. Camille was huge again, defensively, rebounds. Tess came in and I challenged her a little bit during the game. And she came in and got some big boards. When Camille picked up her fourth foul and Tess came in and she got some big rebounds, and then she actually hit 2 free throws to kind of give us a little bit of a cushion. And then Jazz came in with energy and helped. And, obviously it's really only 3 of them inside. And so they did a great job today.
We're going to go back here, and then we'll go over here.
Coach, at one point you were 4-5 in the conference season, and you gave the players some time off. And this can go for coach and for the players. You may have been the hunted because you won the tournament last year and the regular season. You guys had all the publicity coming into the year. Did you feel that after that 4-5 start, when you rattle off 9 wins in a row, did you feel that something changed? Or was it just a matter of getting used to getting everybody's best shot every single game?
They're giggling a little bit because they did get a couple of days off, and then we came back and went harder than we went all year. And that was, they didn't know it when they were, I kind of gave them a couple of days so they could rest because it was, the heat was going to be turned up. But again, they responded the right way. And that's what we talk about in our program all the time. You can't control everything that happens, but you can always control how you respond to it. And so practices got a little bit more intense, probably a lot more intense. There was a lot more running involved in practice. We had 18-year-olds thinking that their bodies were breaking down and that they were going to have to retire mid-season. But again, like Ashley said, they didn't stop trying to find a way. And at the end of the day, the way was working harder.
Any of you 3 would like to say anything? Talk about the time off and then the tournament practice.
Well, it's funny how you say time off because I feel like we never have time off because it's like a trick. So, so time off means you better be in the gym, you better be getting an extra workout, and you better be ready to come back because it's about to be real. So, I think it got us back on the same page and made our mindsets come in ready to practice. We may have been on our toes and it may have been a little bit of fear, but like you said, we didn't stop trying and we came in and it was probably the hardest practices we ever had, but look where we are now, so.
Anybody else?
I think it was a good opportunity for us to regroup. We had a few meetings as a team, the seniors, and then as a team, once we got back, it was a good time for us to get it together and we all came together at that point.
We got time for one question here. We'll see how it goes.
Yes, Mateo Malero, Daily Sundial. Janae, could you expand a little bit on what it was like going against a tennis racket that was shot away?
Honestly, I hate it because I get my shot blocked every time. But and then I have to do push-ups after. But
She's talking about in practice.
in practice. But it's just when you buy into what they're saying, what they're telling you, and just listen and apply. When we go against teams like Hawaii or teams that's way bigger than us, it helps us. Yeah. Forgot.
Coach, you want to talk about looking forward, what you're expecting to see come the selection show, where do you want to go?
We're excited. Obviously, the growth of our program, last year I think they were probably, speaking for them, which can get me in trouble, I think they were probably bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and it was the NCAA tournament, and it was happy to be there. And even though we went in and we competed and played well against a really good team, our goals to start the year, or their goals, I should say, because they formed their own goals at the beginning of the year, is much more than just being happy at the NCAA tournament. I think the level of our conference has been lifted. Obviously, you have two teams with 23 wins overall. You have another team that had 20-plus wins. I think at least this year, the days of our conference just being happy to be in the tournament, that's not our mindset. So obviously they'll get a day off. Ashley says it won't feel like a day off, but they'll get a day off tomorrow to enjoy everything that they've earned up until this point, and then regroup so that we can prepare to finish off the goals that they set at the beginning of the year.
Any predictions?
None whatsoever. I predict that we will be playing in the tournament, and we will play extremely hard. Other than that, I don't have anything.
All right, with that, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can we take one? Are you guys smiling?
No, can we take these? Herbie.
There's gonna be pictures of you like, yes.